What's up everyone, I'm Venomous Stare, and this is Neeb versus Nerchio. Nerchio is in the bottom right of New Kirk. Neeb is in the bottom left. They're going to be playing a best of 5, so the first person to win 3 games wins the series. Neeb is a very good American player. He actually went over to Korea and won a big LAN called the Kespa Cup. And he won many PvPs to do so. He's playing PvZ this time around against the Polish Zerg, Nerchio. Nerchio has been on the forefront of the foreigner scene and has been one of these players who is actually high enough level to beat Koreans consistently. Nerchio is going to take his first base at his third because Neeb was blocking his natural. Back at Camp Neeb, he's going for a gateway expand, so this wasn't a cannon rush or anything crazy. Although there are some pretty cute cannon rushes you can do involving this high ground. Neeb has taken a gas, but he's not mining it. I suspect once this Nexus starts, we'll probably start mining. Now the reason that he delayed his gas mining is because whenever you're saving up for a Nexus or a hatchery or a command center, you really want to be rushing towards it oftentimes. And believe it or not, whenever you have this few workers, mining gas can really affect that. And Neeb's build is going to time out basically where he has 16 probes on minerals at all times, and then the gas geysers kind of come up and the new probes that are made go into the geysers. So interesting to note there. I like to note the details of people's macro habits. 4 lings on the way, and of course they're going to be rallied out to the probe, but I suspect this probe will just run away. Nerchio has overlords close to Neeb's base. Neeb has not chosen his tech yet. He does have his cyber core finish, but he hasn't elected to go Twilight or Stargate or anything. Okay, there's the Twilight, 245. And the first Adept is going to start its way across the map. Nerchio has a queen out here already to defend. And he's going to attack the Adept, which will phase into the natural. And Nerchio is walking his queen down. Of course, the phase shade will be deployed out again. And because link speed is about to finish, I do not think this Adept will live very long. Neeb is phase shading again, but link speed finishes, and the Adept goes down. So there really wasn't a whole lot to see in terms of scouting for Neeb, but he did not get into the main, so he kind of has to worry a little bit that maybe Nerchio could be doing something all in. Robo coming up here for Neeb, and I think that this is probably going to be the double Archon in the Warp Prism drop build. I know Neeb really likes Archon drops a lot, and he likes to use active Warp Prism harassment a lot. We see this in his PvPs. So it is going to be the DT drops here, I think. He might not even do the DTs, he might go straight into Archon. Vision-wise for Nerchio, he sees the Robo, but that doesn't really mean a whole lot. Really, the most that the Robo means is it's probably not Stargate. That actually is somewhat valuable information, but this DT shrine is very important. It's one of these structures that once you scout it, the power is kind of taken away. Nerchio, notice he keeps trying to run lings in the front door to scout, but Neeb is persistently guarding his front door. Neeb has started to take a third, so this Warp Prism is going to warp in the double Archon, load them up, and then start to harass Nerchio. Here comes the first warp in as soon as the Stark Shrine finishes. So this harassment is very strong because of the splash, as the third base is nearing completion. Immortals are being produced. Spore is already in an excellent location here for Nerchio, but the range on the Warp Prism here means that Neeb is never really going to be at that much of a risk. So excellent defense there from Nerchio. This harassment excels against Ling defense. Roaches are actually pretty good against it, and the more room behind the mineral line, the worse this harassment is. So on this map in particular, Newkirk, this is not very good, because if we look, there's a decent amount of room behind the natural, but there's a ton of room in the main. The main is just huge. So the main is so big where oftentimes we see this area get dropped. That, along with the fact that the air rush distance is short. But Nerchio counteracted that with the Spore. He had extra queens made. Great play by Nerchio. Roach speed just finished. +1 is a little over halfway done. Double Archons are going to be dropped off here. One queen gets mowed down. Another one is at risk of dying, but Nerchio intelligently pulls it back, and Neeb pulls back himself. Now he's going to drop this fourth base. Neeb is mining pretty well over here at this third. He has an Immortal on the way, +1, Zealot legs, more gates. And he's starting to warp in some Adepts here. I like to see that. Observer is out here for Neeb. This is in a good location because if Nerchio makes units, he's probably going to rally them out here, and then if he attacks, it's probably just going to be a straight shot to the third. Adepts are being phased into the natural here, but Nerchio has his army, and harassment force aggressing into the third for Neeb, but he picks up and runs away. Adepts are still over here by the fourth, and creep spread is starting to be cleared out, and this is valuable because this high ground can be irritating for Zerg if Protoss sets up an army up here, especially with Colossi or Disruptor, and if Protoss gets a pylon down here, it can be frustrating. So good move to pick this off. We can see a little bit of inconsequential Adept harassment there. Pylons going up in the main. Neeb is teching into Templar. Charge is almost finished. He can start +2 whenever he wants. Roach Hydra is the choice for Nerchio. Once again, the Warp Prism gets chased off. Fourth base on the way for Neeb. And Nerchio is aggressing with his Roach Hydra. Now this is a decent forest, but the Roaches absolutely have to fight in front of the Hydras. See Hallucination go down there. And the empty Warp Prism actually goes down, so these two Archons thankfully were not in there for Neeb. But this Roach Hydra force is strong. The Roaches are extremely tanky. The Hydras do a lot of damage, but are very squishy. So Nerchio is going to aggress up into this fourth and try to shut it down, but these Hydras move very slow off creep. And here we go, we're going to have an engagement. Neeb versus Nerchio. Double Guardian Shield gets popped. These charge lots are going to eviscerate these Hydras, and one part of the Zerg force is being chased off, and so is the other part. So Nerchio is having a little bit of an issue here, trying to retreat desperately. And together his force is very strong and hard to deal with, but split up with the Hydras in one spot and the Roaches in another, the force is not actually that powerful. And we see Neeb has taken a supply lead. Nerchio has a lot of income though. He has Baneling tech, he's about to have Baneling speed, and Banelings with speed are actually a very good option to charge Zealots. Charge Zealots, by the way, if you don't know, will beat a Roach 1v1. They will eviscerate a Hydralisk. So being able to tech into speed Banelings is useful, because sometimes you see Zergs tech into this Baneling response. Oh, he has charge lots, I'll go Banes. And they don't have speed, and slow Banelings are just absolutely worthless. So Banelings have been made here, lots of Hydras are out, and Nerchio's at about 160 supply. And Neeb is aggressing forward here, but he doesn't really have any splash except for Archon. So this is an extremely good force against Roaches, but with Mass Hydra Bane, Neeb is going to have to back up. and he's teching into High Templar with Storm, but the issue is the Storm just started. And over here a little bit of harassment occurred with Zealots, but the Zealots were killed right at the last moment, 21 HP. Neeb is going to continue to warp in here, Zealots. +3 has been started for the American Protoss. More Immortals are on the way, but no Disruptors, no Colossus. Lots of Immortals here, and a plethora of Hydralisks are out here. Storm is very good against this, but Storm is not done. Excellent time warp here for Neeb. This is going to be incredibly good, far more useful than Force Field because it lasts so long. Nerchio's aggressing up into this base, and Neeb can't really attack without Storm. Storm is being chroned out. Speed Bands going into all these Immortals. Lots of damage being sponged, and here these High Templar are about to go to work. Storm finally finishes, but Neeb's supply is plummeting. He's in 115 and around there. He throws down some Storms, including some onto the High Templars because he was getting flanked by Lings, and suddenly almost no Immortals are remaining, and Neeb might be tempted to GG here pretty quick. He did manage to save that base, but Nerchio can continue to replenish. He's doing very well. And Nerchio can make Hydra Bane, and quite frankly, Neeb doesn't have anything to deal with that. He used all of his High Templar energy and then had to morph them into Archons. Hydras are going to shred through charge lots here, and you know you're ahead whenever your Hydralisks decimate the Speed Zealots. So Nerchio takes game 1 of the best of 5. We'll see how the American Protoss does in the next game. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss any future videos.